31 years old. So currently I am working as a program and process manager for an American tech company. Also, I'm currently studying for a bachelor's degree in computer science. It's in an online university called UTEL. I have maybe 2 or 3 months left to go until I'm finished. So my dream job would be photographer or cinematographer. I really enjoy cameras, recording things, capturing moments in film or video. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is fixing the roads. It's just something that we struggle with a lot here. We have to fix the suspension in our vehicles very often. So I would probably invest in something that would have to do with fixing roads. And then second, open up some businesses. I've always had the idea of opening up like a go-kart business. Obviously that would also bring jobs to local people, and it's something that seems very fun, and I used to like to do when I was little. So I think first I would buy homes for all my family, of course including my kids, myself and my wife, my mom, my sister, my dad. That would probably be the first thing. After that I would look for some good investments so that money doesn't end so that we can keep generating some sort of income with that money. I don't know, I think I'd put it to good use. Opening businesses, like I said earlier, here in Mexico, I think that would be a really good way to put money to use. And of course, travel the world. I think that would be one of the main things that I would like to do. And even today I talk about it with my wife, that I want to travel the world. I want to meet all the different countries and cultures. So most important, I would put first, of course, my family. Obviously, I would do anything for them, and I think everything we do is for them. So I would definitely say family comes first above all. After that, something more of a personal preference or things that I care about myself. I'm really into technology. As I mentioned, I work for a American tech company, and I'm always liking to be up to date on the newest cell phones or the newest gadgets and video games. That's something that I feel I'm passionate about as well. Yeah, I think what's really important for the youth here in Mexico is the fact that there might not be too much sexual education. In a lot of the more poor areas of the country, a lot of times you'll see people in the streets that are, selling candy or food or chips to make a living. You'll see a woman maybe with like 2 kids on each arm, and then she's still pregnant as well with a third one coming. So if I were to choose a specific topic of education for the youth, I would think sexual education is at the top of the list. A lot of kids and young girls getting pregnant from a very young age, and they continue to have kids after that. And it affects the country in a lot of ways. We're overpopulated. Cities are filled with people, and more keep coming. And then obviously, of course, for the women themselves, I don't think it's healthy to keep having so many kids being in a state of poverty, of course. So that's definitely the top of my list, I think, for sexual education. Yeah, I think something that comes to mind is maybe implementing or having or creating more youth centers. I know that there are some around here where kids can go. It's some sort of like a park or facility where they can take different types of classes, but they're not very popular or you don't see them, I guess, very often. Maybe I'd say that they're even kind of hidden unless you know that they are there. So that would, I think, help a lot with the youth in the country. A lot of the times we see kids out in the street, nothing to do, throwing rocks at windows or just not doing anything productive. And there are boxing gyms and soccer teams, but they all cost money. So I think it would be a good idea to have some sort of non-profit organization where they have these youth centers and they don't charge any money and any kid can sign up. I think that would help a lot as well. After all, they're the future of our country anyway, so why not help them? So I think Mexico has a history of men feeling that they have to overpower the women in a lot of ways, you know, in the household and the jobs. And, you know, it's machismo that comes from generations behind us, where, you know, the wife stays at home and cooks and the husband makes a living and provides for the family. And I think today it's probably more progressive now. We have a lot more women that are starting to show that it doesn't have to be that way. More women that are starting to provide for their families, that have higher education, that are starting to, you know, have powerful jobs in the government and private companies, etc. So the way women are treated today, I think, has gone a long way from how we used to be in the past. But there's still a long way to go. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of people out there that, you know, maybe you'll hear stories of women that walk down the street and you hear people or construction workers, you know, whistling at them or yelling things at them, which obviously is not right. Or stories of, you know, closer to the border where there's women disappearing all the time, maybe because they can't defend themselves and men just feel like they can take advantage of that. So I'd say we're on the right path, and there's a lot of good examples of how we should be, but there's still a long way to go. Yes, I mean, it might sound a little naive, but I think the way we would be able to eradicate poverty would be by getting rid of greed and corruption, which is one of the main sources of the problems that we have here in our country. People in power that just want more. You know, again, like I said, just greed and power. But also, if I had a magic wand and I would wave it, I would say that, you know, everyone needs to be empathetic. I think if people had empathy, the world would in general be a better place, not just Mexico, but the entire world. And just to give a quick example, here in Mexico, when people are driving, you know, people don't think twice about cutting you off. And why? Because they're not empathetic. They're not thinking about the person next to them saying, hey, you know what, maybe they're gonna get upset if I cut them off. Maybe they have somewhere to go to, they're in a hurry. People don't think about other people, they just think about themselves. So, you know, again, in short, in a summary, I think those three things: greed, power, and empathy. Those are the three key words.
Thank you.
So the first thing that comes to mind when I think of my favorite movie is Space Jam. If you're familiar with it, it's about Michael Jordan, the old one, not the new one with LeBron James. The old one with Michael Jordan, where Bugs Bunny and his friends kidnap him, take him to Looney Town, and they ask for help to beat aliens in a basketball game. I just really like that movie, you know, because it was a mixture of real life and cartoon, something that really hadn't been explored too much in movies, I guess. And the fact that, you know, they were playing sports, that it had to do with cartoons, that it had to do with Michael Jordan, which is, you know, one of the greatest athletes ever. I think that's probably the top.